I'll get her.
They would get sick or you're not getting.
All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to begin here momentarily. If you can make sure your cell phones are off or on silent, I appreciate it. Council members, ensure your microphones are turned on. Apologize for the late start. We were just clearing up some issues that we were having. All right, today is April 28, 2025. It is 6:06 p.m. It is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council this evening. But before we begin our regular legislative meeting, we do have individual committee meetings. And we will start with City Properties, Parks, and Recreation with Mr. Easterling.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Properties, Parks, and Recreation, here in City Council and Council Chambers, it's 6:07 p.m. All members are present and those noted. Today we have one topic of discussion. It's requested legislation. A letter from Stacy Carr, Planning Director, requesting legislation to approve the City of Barberton to sell parcels 01.05664 and 01.5666 for economic development purposes. Please see request and please refer to planning. Do I have a motion to send this off to planning?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Thank you. We have no pending legislation. Oh, can I get a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passed. We have no pending legislation at this time, so we'll open this up to miscellaneous discussion if anyone has any questions. Wait for planning. Okay. The gallery? No, thank you. With that, get a motion to adjourn.
Do we need to correct anything, Justin?
That will be referred to planning.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Can I get a second? Thank you. And with that, we adjourn at 6:08.
Thank you, Mr. Easterling. All right. Next up is Public Welfare and Safety with Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's April 28th, time is 6:08 p.m. I'll bring Public Welfare and Safety Committee to order. We're in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mr. Easterling co-chair, Ms. Gerhardt, and Mr. Greer. All council members are present and guests are noted on my sheet. We have no request for legislation. We do have three pending pieces of legislation. First one is ordinance number 44-2025, titled Compression Release Type Engine Brakes, Jake Brakes, an ordinance prohibiting the use of compression release type engine brakes, referred to as Jake Brakes, within the city of Barberton, and establishing penalties for the violation. Resolution 45-2025, accommodation David Semivan, resolution of council of the city of Barberton to honor and give public recognition to Lieutenant David Semivan for his 33 years of dedicated service to the city of Barberton Fire Department and to this community. We have resolution number 46-2025, accommodation for Chief Stephen Iona, a resolution of the council of the city of Barberton to honor and give public recognition to Chief Stephen Iona for his 36 years of dedicated service to the city of Barberton Fire Department and to this community. And then we have ordinance number 50-2025. It's adopting the OPBA Police Officers Agreement, an ordinance of the council of the city of Barberton adopting and approving the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Barberton and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, OPBA, Blue Gold Bargaining Units, effective from January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2027. Any questions on that? Do we have any comments from the committee? Yes, ma'am?
I just wanted to let Chief Iona know that I'll miss having him at our meetings.
Thank you. I'll miss being here.
You're too kind. Enjoy your retirement. That's all.
Anything else from my committee? I have one thing. The tank barn, I happened to notice that some of the roof collapsed. What are we doing with that?
So it's been cleared out, we're getting quotes on cleaning it up and removing it.
Have we, like, sent a memo out to everybody not to be in it?
I did not. I'm assuming that the manager down there did. All the employees are aware of it.
Okay, because I know there's other employees besides street department employees that go down that way. I just want to make sure that no employees are in there and more of the roof collapses and then we're in a worse situation than what we already are. So, anything from the gallery? No? Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
We're adjourned at 6:11 PM.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up is Rules Marketing Development, Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to call the Rules Marketing and Development Committee to order. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2025. The time is 6:11 PM. We are in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mrs. Beck as my co-chair, Mr. Heidick, and President Greer. All other council members and others are noted on my sheet. We have no requests, nothing pending. So we're going to hop right into miscellaneous and continue our riveting discussion on council rules. I believe we left off last 2 weeks ago, talking about the attire. So Lori forwarded our committee what the employee handbook says. So I'll read that for everybody. Workplace attire attire and grooming must be clean and appropriate for the work being performed, the setting in which the work is performed. So we're out council guidelines. Staff are expected to present a professional, business-like image to clients, visitors, customers, and the general public at all times. Certain staff may be required to meet special dress, grooming, and hygiene standards, such as wearing uniforms or protective clothing. So I really just think that first sentence is what would apply to us. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Did it sound good?
Sure. I have no objections.
Okay. Mr. Heidick, do you have any thoughts?
Once again, I don't think the attire is an issue.
I know. Seeing you in that jacket, though, I wish we'd put a rule about sequins being permitted at all meetings.
Bringing them back.
Encouraged.
Bringing them back. No, people vote for the person.
Right.
We were voted here. We weren't hired by a supervisor. The people liked what we had to say, how we thought, and they put us here. They didn't care what we were wearing. They cared about what's up here.
Mhm.
So I think restricting attire, I don't like it.
So your thoughts are just to not have it in the rules at all?
That would be my thought, but that's just my opinion on the matter.
Okay. If it were to stick around, do you like what I just read?
I have no objection, but once again, to me, it's not an issue.
Okay. President Greer, do you have any thoughts on it?
I don't see it as an issue now. I don't see it as an issue to be changed
Okay.
or removed. I mean, it's there. For the record, an in-person meeting, members dress in a professional business attire. It's pretty straight and to the point.
Okay.
Right? Business attire could be interpreted different ways, but we're the ones that enforce it, so it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good. I did have one I liked. I don't know what section it would go under. Councilman Heidick, are we ready to talk about it?
By all means.
Okay. So, Councilman Heidick sent over being in favor of adding a consent agenda if a vote for it is unanimous when motioned. So, some nights whenever we have like just a bunch of bills that we're about ready to all approve, we would take a consent vote, and if we're good with it, Lori would just read everything through and we'd make one vote
On the agenda itself.
on the agenda itself, versus having to be read and then voted and suspended each time. So what is everybody's thoughts on that?
see you have a question.
We talked about this last week too,
Mhm.
and there was something that if there was one thing that one person wanted to pull out, then we'd pull that thing out and then have
You would-
consensus or on the
If
other.
somebody had to abstain, like let's say there was a door issue and I had to abstain,
Right.
that would be pulled aside on its own agenda.
Right, okay, I'd forgotten that part.
And then if
But the
we,
basis would be that a consent would have to be unanimous, because if 6 people said yes and 2 people said no, you're robbing those 2 of making their case.
Indeed.
Right.
So if it's 7-1 for consent, it fails.
Mm-hmm.
it has to be
So
unanimous.
It would
Has
have
to
to
be
be
everyone.
one unanimous vote to move forward anyway.
What are your thoughts?
Talking about in committee or as legislative?
As legislative.
Okay. Oh,
A great tool for bills.
Yeah, or like when we're about ready to honor people that nobody's going to be voting no against that, or, you know, and if you want to vote no on anything that night, the consent would fail, and then we'd take everything as case by case.
If the consent motion wasn't unanimous, it would revert to essentially what we do right now,
Yeah.
where everything's read one by one, voted, suspend, anything like that. But if it's something where there's 6 note ordinances and 2 other things that are just routine, then we could motion for consent. If all 8 approved consent, the clerk would read them, and at the culmination of reading them, a motion would have to be made to suspend because it would be first readings, then a motion to vote on the entire. But again, if one person votes no to the motion to consent, consent's done, back to what we do now.
Mr. Griffin, do you have any questions or thoughts on that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Explain it to me one more time. You're talking about, on the legislation, instead of going each one, suspend and all that, you know, we're gonna go, she's gonna read all of them together, and you're gonna do it one time, and vote on it one time for everything that's read. Am I correct?
It is not all of the agenda. It is not all of the agenda that Lori sends out. It would be the ones you choose from the agenda that Lori sends out of the drafts. So let's say there were 20 pending ordinances or resolutions.
Okay.
You could pick 6 to put on the consent agenda. All 20 of them would never, in all likelihood, ever make it on the consent agenda.
Okay.
And I apologize, I was not here. Do you want a draft of some language for that? And then you guys can decide not to do with it or not do it.
Sure.
Okay.
yeah. So when are we deciding to do the consent? During the person's committee meeting and then when it goes into legislative, or before? Like, when are we taking that vote?
I would suggest that'd be the perfect time. So if Monty had, let's just say a purchase of bulletproof vests, and he would say, a motion to accept, how you do, should I call for this? Then his next motion would be, shall we place on the consent agenda?
Okay.
And I think that his committee would recommend to put it on the consent agenda, and all of council would receive a report of the items from each committee that were moved to be put on the consent agenda, and then you could agree to that. That's how I believe it's worked. I would say most cities in this county have a consent agenda.
So sticking with your example, Law Director, Monty would motion for that. His committee says, yes, it should be on consent, but Mrs. Beck's gonna want to vote no. She doesn't want the bulletproof vests. So she would then be, on the night that we say, is this a vote for consent? She would say no.
Yes.
And that would fail it, and now it would go to,
Assuming she's not on Monty's committee, right? She's
Right.
on some other committee. Yep.
right, she is, okay. Does that kind of help?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and also we're not gonna I can't think of anything that we would have to suspend in order to, like, suspend Rule 405 or whatever.
No, the
Before doing
consent
any of
agenda
that.
is just a council rule.
Okay.
But all of the charter rules apply to the items on the consent agenda. So if everything that's put on the consent agenda, in my example, there were 20 ordinances and resolutions, 6 went to the consent agenda. If those were all the very first reading, of those ordinances resolution, you would do it just like you would in council for the acceptance of the consent agenda.
The
Next
suspending
question.
suspending 510 or that.
Wait. Okay, but also, here's my next question. Do they all have to have the same wording, like emergency wording, request one reading, in order to go in that grouping?
Actual ordinance or resolution would absolutely have to have that language.
All of them?
All of them.
Okay.
But they don't all have to be the same.
If ordinance number 1 of the 6 said, I want 3 readings in non-emergency, you couldn't, it would not make sense to put on the consent agenda because it would only have 1 reading and passage.
Okay.
emergency.
We don't have to make a decision
Can we talk about
tonight.
this some more?
Absolutely. Lori has explained what to do whenever we get to the point of updating, but we're not on a time frame to do this, so it's something we can all think about and reach out and ask more questions
I can
too.
also bring samples of other cities' consent agenda or rules, and you can take a look at those, and maybe Akron's is tough, it's long. I have to admit, I was like, holy cow. But Greene has one for sure, and many of them other do.
Okay.
It just, the purpose of it is to remove the things that, paying an invoice that's $3,005 because it's $3,000 before the purchase order, right? You're doing all of that work instead of being able to have the time to devote to the things that you really want to devote time to.
I think that would move your committee along nicely.
That's
Lori?
what I was thinking.
Oh, sorry.
I'm so- Oh, no, go ahead. A question that I had, if it's, coming out of finance, but we also have something from safety, would that, what if we have multiple committees that have legislation, like who motions and who?
They refer to.
Could it be
like,
anybody?
if safety referred something to the finance?
Well, I'm just saying, what if we have multiple pieces of legislation? We've got one, that's from me, one from you, one from Mr. Heidick, who would make a motion to?
In your committee, so if the finance committee wanted something on the consent agenda, your committee would vote to place it on the consent agenda.
Right, but once we get to the legislative meeting, when we're going to vote on all of those pieces.
On the consent agenda,
Yeah.
you can make a rule, like that maybe the most senior counsel at large makes the motion, just like you guys do when you excuse people. You
Okay.
can make that rule what you want it to be.
Okay.
Lori?
That's a good question, though.
In belonging to the clerks associations that I belong to, we have email groups set up where I can send one email out that says, do any of y'all have consent agenda legislation? If so, can you forward it to me? And then that would give us a lot, and then I could just send it up to you.
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
I'll do that.
All right.
I'll do that.
And
Perfect.
it would be a consent agenda rule in their council rules.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so we were on page 9. Hold on, I have to watch my time. I'm kind of at my time, so let's pause there. Do we have any other miscellaneous conversation? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I will second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:24 PM.
Thank you, Ms. Gerhart.
Welcome.
Next up is city utilities with Mr. Christian.
Thank you, Mr. President. The time is 6:26. I would like to call this meeting to order, April 28th. We're in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, Jennifer Hager, myself, Chair Emily Beck, and Justin Greer, all others noted. We have several pieces of legislation to discuss and call for tonight, and we have no pending legislation. The first one, a letter from Dennis Weaver, Utilities Director, requesting legislation authorizing the mayor to enter into contract with Simonson Construction Services Incorporated in the amount of $311,095. Emergency wording requested, and everybody see the request. And Mr. Weaver's not here, but Mr. Todd will explain everything that we need to know about
This piece of ordinance.
Come on down, Mr. Todd.
Kind of start that off, Mr. Griffin, if anybody has any questions.
anybody have any questions?
Because, I mean, we could be here all night if you want me to talk about how they're gonna hook water services up and install new hydrants and all that kind of stuff, so yeah, so are there any questions with the legislation or the funding? Yes, correct.
This piece of legislation is just for the water line on Wisteria, correct?
So the first
Or-
one,
This one's Fifth Street.
Fifth Street,
Fifth
rather?
Street, yes,
Yeah, Fifth Street Northwest.
yes. Yep, and with Simonson, so we contracted with them to do Taylor Road. They are going to do directional drilling, so there will be less disturbance of the soil. So that's where they dig bore pits, pull the line in, and then they'll come back and tie water services and fire hydrants in after the main line's already in the ground. All of these are upgrades in size also. If it's a 6 inch, it's going to 8. If it's I think we're doing 1.4. I think Fifth Street downtown, part of it's 4 inch, so it's going from 4 to 8. So we're increasing capacity and flow too.
Any more questions for Mr. Todd? Reed?
We got two more. We'll get them.
Okay. Do I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Sager, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
So
passes.
is this one for Fifth?
A letter
And
from
that
Dennis
one's for
Weaver,
Wisteria?
Utilities Director, requesting legislation
Hold on.
authorizing the mayor to enter into contract with Simonson Construction Services in the amount of $264,206. The emergency wording requested. Please see request. If we have any questions, please ask Mr. Freed. No questions?
Where's this one located?
I think this is Frank, isn't it?
Yeah.
Third ward off the Snyder Avenue.
Frank?
So this one, the reason that this one is, so we're looking at replacing this one, is we have in the last 4 years, it broke probably 3 times, but along with it not breaking, it doesn't break a ton, but when it does break, it's 9 feet deep. It's 9 feet deep in sandy soil. It's not an easy one to repair. So with this new line, we're gonna pull the new line in, it'll be no deeper than 5. So again, 50 years down the road, when they have to make repairs, or even 5 years down the road when we have to do a tap on it because we built on some of the empty lots there on Frank, it'll be much easier for the guys to accomplish that work. Yes, Mr. Harris?
Are they doing the same thing they're?
So that
same-
will be
same
directional
short-
drill there also. So Simonson came in, so we bid all 3 of these as separate jobs, and Simonson came in well under our engineer's estimate. So I want to say, engineer's estimate, so for Fifth Street, for example, first one, engineer's estimate was $395,000. Simonson came in at $311,000. For Frank Street, estimate was $416,000, and they actually came in at $264,000. So, I mean, we got really good prices. We were real happy with the work they did on Taylor. They had some rock issues down at the south end of Taylor Road that we weren't real sure how that was gonna end up working out for us, because directional drillers don't like going through a lot of hard rock. But they ended up working through it, and I think we had a couple little change orders just to get through some of the rocky area. But once they got into the dirt, I mean, they did a great job out there with that job. So, yes, Ms. Thompson.
Is this the same situation, like is it a 4 or 6 inch and we're upgrading?
So this will be a 6 inch, so it's 6 inch cast line, and we will upgrade to an 8 inch.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be plastic, CPVC. And with that, we also do upgrade our hydrant spacing, so fire protection is better. So back in the day, they tried to put a fire hydrant every block. Now we put a fire hydrant every 300 feet. So it makes it much better for the fire department too. Chief Iona can attest to that. When we put the new water lines in, they like lots of hydrants.
Any more questions? Do I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager, second.
I will second.
Thank you, Mrs. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Motion passes. The third piece here is a letter from Dennis Weaver, Utilities Director, requesting legislation authorizing the mayor to enter into contract with Simonson Construction Services, Inc. in the amount of $553,709.50. The emergency wording request. Please see request. Do we have any questions on this for Mr. Creed? If we have none, do I have a motion to call for this?
Actually, I do, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a general question. I know we have, in our development code, we can't put in gravel driveways. And I see all these, we're repairing, replacing gravel driveways. Just food for thought. Can we get concrete aprons put in so when it rains, we don't get all this gravel wash out into the roads?
I mean, that's something that we could
Because
definitely.
there's not a bunch of gravel driveway repairs in these 4 or 5, I think, from looking at the
Yeah,
numbers.
so that's what I was gonna say, we could definitely look at adding that to the bid specs in the future, instead of repairing with kind.
You're right.
Having them upgrade, if it's asphalt, put back asphalt, if it's or if it's gravel, either asphalt or concrete.
Right, it's just something to help kind of retain that gravel where it is.
Yeah.
You know, on these heavy rains, that stuff tends to float all
And I
over.
think we typically do that with our paving program. We don't give them an asphalt approach, but we will wing it up so that it kind of
Right.
pushes the gravel
Yeah,
up into
that's-
the
yeah,
the
just
drive a
something
little
like that
bit
would
more.
even
Okay.
work, but-
No, moving forward, we could definitely look at adding that to our water line.
Yeah, because I've seen it on just 2 of these, Frank and 5th Street.
Okay.
I didn't see anything for gravel up, you know, obviously up in Wisteria.
Wisteria, well, and I'm trying to think, a lot of those driveways,
I don't think.
I want to say, they're probably pretty much all improved. Now, the
Yeah, that's
road
right.
itself doesn't have a curb, but we are, so with Wisteria, so the estimate there also was 1.1 million. And it came in, we actually got a bid of 553,000. Now, with that, you think, oh, it's not really that long a road up there, because we're just kind of doing the loop. But we also we're gonna do some storm sewer work up there, because we went ahead and said, well, while we're tearing this road up, we probably should go ahead and look at the storm sewer, just because a lot of it's in the yards up there. We're looking at putting a water line right back in the yard next to it. When the water line does blow up, we have a lot of flooding, just because the storm sewers, we're like, well, what about capacity? So they're there, let's look at them, let's study them. So we are doing some storm sewer work up there. And this particular job includes the road replacement, where Frank and 5th both will be on our paving program, well, either this year or next. So,
Any more questions for Mr. Shreve?
Is this, is this the directional drilling again?
Yes.
Or- okay.
so that's Simonson's specialty. So what we did is so each bid package, so Wisteria had alternate A1, alternate A2, or B2, I don't remember. No, it would have been A2. So one was directional drill, the other was open cut. I mean, their open cut cost was, I want to say, 1.2 million, because it costs a lot more, because you're removing, for every inch of line you're putting in, you're removing that much dirt to put the line in. Where directional drill, you're only digging a small hole and you're pulling the water line through that hole. So there's a lot more cost associated with the direct bury or the trenching. So,
And one more.
yes, sir.
These aren't budget linear foot type things, because we don't have what was out for bid, but is this a closed-in contract? one price does it all, or do we have line items and
So
allowances?
there are line items and allowances on this. And so, I mean, we could, again, so, and we add contingency, but I want to say Taylor Road came in just under budget. We didn't end up expending all of the funds there. Houston over there that H.H. Miller did 2-3 years ago, we ended up being about 60 or 80,000 under budget over there. So I mean, a lot of times, as long as, you know, weather cooperates, soil conditions are ideal, the job goes smooth in the way that it's supposed to, we have historically came in under budget. Now, if they run into something where they have to move it, say there's a big storm sewer that somebody missed, it wasn't on the plans, it didn't get marked, they didn't plan on having to, you know, move or adjust it, you could end up eating into some of your contingency costs to make those changes. But for the most part, I mean, they try to cover everything. There's soil borings that are done ahead of time, so you know the soil conditions. I mean, they go out and they do all the mapping of the other utilities. So I mean, they have a pretty good idea when they step on site what we're going to spend. So
You got what, 10% probably for?
I think contingencies.
10, 15%?
Yeah, I don't know that Denny has that on his figures here, but that's
It's probably safe to say
typical.
10.
Yep.
Thank you.
Mr. Griffin. Any more questions?
One more.
Mrs. Beck?
When this same company did Taylor Road, did they come in on, from the estimate given, did they come in that much lower the first time? Like, I mean, this is kind of, like, how are they so low? How are they so much lower than?
So I can also talk on that a little bit. So talking to the engineer, when they do these estimates, they have to, so that 1.1, they have to look at both alternates. So they have to put a number on it. They didn't put, you know, HDD or, you know, the directional drill. I think that's what it is, something.
Yeah.
But either way, they didn't put that. They didn't have an estimate for that and an estimate for open cut. They just had one estimate. So like they know that open cut is the more expensive option. But if for some reason the city of Barberton says, you know, we just really don't like directional drilling, we want to open cut everything, or if the numbers were really close and we said we wanted it all open cut, you could go that route. But so they put one number on both alternates. So that's why the number is so much higher. So to answer your question about Taylor Road, I'd have to go back and pull up numbers.
Quite some time ago.
But I want to say that they were under the engineer's estimate, but by how much, I don't know.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
This is your heart. Yes, your heart.
Thank you. Todd, would there be anything that would come up that would prevent Simonson from doing the directional dig?
Again, so that would come down to, they do soil borings, they know the condition of the soils, but if they were to run into, say, a large amount of bedrock or something, to where the drill itself can't actually get through, they may have to open cut that section. But then as soon as they could get right back to drilling, they would put the drill back in.
So it might affect the price a
It
little
could,
bit if they
yeah.
start to encounter that. Okay.
Any more questions? Gallery? Anyone? Can I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mrs. Beck. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Hager. Motion. Do I have a vote to approve this?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Pending legislation, we don't have any at this time. Do you have any miscellaneous discussion for utilities? Go for it.
Thank you. Mr. Shreve, since we're talking about water, and you know a lot about it, have you been following my email thread about 17th Street and the complaint with Norton's drain up on Spring?
I would be lying if I said I was following it super close.
Okay.
So I guess,
I just need some follow-up if anybody from building or water has gone up to look at.
so that would be a storm sewer, is that a storm sewer? So that would be Mark Carr and Kyle Briding. I
Okay.
can follow up with them, or Caroline. I don't know, is she aware? you know?
She's aware of it, yeah.
So let me follow up with her, and I will get with you.
Okay. Hopping to another area in Ward 5, over there on Liberty.
Okay?
We really need some help over there. I know the homeowners have reached out, and I know this has gone on for a long time, Mayor, about getting a storm drain over there. You and I had even talked about if you're pointing west towards 31st, between 29th and 30th, getting the road kind of angled downwards, because all this water is collecting and it can't reach the drains that are right across the street. And it's flooding out everybody's houses. It's the one I even showed you the video on.
Okay.
From last year after Mum Festival. It's nearly impassable.
I will make sure that Caroline, I believe that that's another area that she's got plans to do something.
I know when we went over the budget, is it right, north, south, and east kind of all had some water mitigation plans, and the west wasn't going to see anything this year? Do you know, can we get that? Could we possibly update that? Because we were having a lot of water issues on the west side.
Yeah, I mean, we can,
And not just like in the FEMA, the known zones. I mean, up at 17th and almost to 31st, so it's kind of all over right now.
okay. Yeah, we could definitely have those discussions.
Yeah, I would say maybe 30-40% of the city has storm sewers. They've never been installed. It's very costly, but that's why Caroline's been working on kind of a plan. Certain areas, County Todd's working on a plan to replace water lines in a section.
Yeah.
Look at Columbia Heights, there's no storm sewers anywhere. So I'm trying to find a funding source for that as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, from 26th Street to 30th Street, there's no inlets. So they just comes right there in the intersection, as you've seen.
Yeah. And I feel like when I've talked to all the residents, they're doing exactly what you had recommended, like the French drains or all the other things they can do. But it's kind of like once they've done all they can do, you know. So I just want to keep that concern at your guys' forefront. I also wondered if we could talk about trash cans, Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Is that a utility?
Sure, we're gonna make it.
Okay.
I mean, it's on the utility bill, right?
Yeah.
I like how you think. So I have been dealing with a trash can situation on Raymond since August of 2024. How can we get this trash can situation solved throughout the city?
So I mean, it's citations. I mean, it's in but it has to be removed from the right of way. So if it's not in the right of way, so they can take it and pull it from the curb to the middle of their front yard, and they can leave it there.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, it's an ordinance that it has to be removed from the right of way. So I mean, if you want more teeth to it, you guys have all of the power to create an ordinance that forces people to store it behind a fence, to fine them more money, to do those kind of things if it is in fact a problem that you feel that strongly about. I mean, we can have our property maintenance inspectors go out and ticket these, but I mean, we also have to ticket grass, we have to ticket blighted structures, we have to ticket cars parked in the yard, we have to ticket all these other things too with our property maintenance instructors. So
And that goes back to what I feel like our conversation has been for a long time. I feel like it's only happening if we put in each ticket. And I have streets with 20 trash cans left on the street in the right of way all during the week. Do I need to ticket all of those, or could the property maintenance go through the ward and ticket each one of those? Because we haven't put it in the water bill. I had asked if we could do that. We haven't made a video. Like, I don't know how to get it out there. Leaving it on the curb is not an okay thing.
So I know, working with Mayor, we've been going to so we have 10 city codes that everybody should know. We're working on putting that together right now. Ashley's got it on her desk, working on it to go in.
We already have that flyer.
To the water bill, though. I mean, you want
Okay.
something in the water bill that's on the water, or that's on that
So that's getting ready to go out?
So, yes.
Okay. Taylor?
I just want to say, I believe we do have an ordinance that cans have to be next to that, they can't be in front of your house. Am I wrong in saying that? Because I feel like we did that a couple years ago.
I have the ordinance
I'd say
here.
it was discussed, but that was never put into place.
This is
The
Miller.
ordinance,
So I am unsure about that question, but I will follow up on that, on the ordinance that you're speaking of, Taylor. Rebecca, one of the other things, I have that on my desk, is we can add
Language.
building code violations, property maintenance violations to the criteria for nuisance. So right now, that's not on there. And I think that might be an addition, but that's just something to consider. But I will check the trash can ordinance and see what's in there.
I believe it just says like out of sight. It's kind of, it's in there, but it's pretty loose. I'm pretty sure that's what we looked up months ago, that there's something in there,
Yeah,
kind of
I'm almost
vague.
positive it could not be in front of your house, if
Yeah.
I'm remembering correctly. This was just a couple years ago that we did this.
I remember the discussion because some people don't have garages, some people don't have, because former Councilor Fry even said at least put it on the side of the house or something. So I do recall the discussions, but I don't recall what came of them.
Yeah, we'll have to check on that.
I do have one question. Since it is an ordinance and people are leaving it out, how many citations have we written for these trash cans?
so most of them get a warning ticket put on them, and then they drag it out. They go and make sure that it's been put to where it needs to be, and they abate the ordinance, or the warning. So then the next time that they leave it out there, it would be a warning, they remove it, and then, because we can't fine them until they have not complied with the warning ticket that's put on the trash can.
Can't we put something on the trash can that says, in 1 month's time, we're going to be enforcing this at will? This is your first warning. And then the next week, this is your second warning. This date, we're going to start putting teeth in this. And then keep putting the dates.
So
We have a
again, I don't know,
copy.
that's probably a legal question, because we have to work inside of what the ordinance, how it reads.
Currently, I am unsure about the trash can ordinance. Property maintenance violations follow the exact procedure that he's talking about. But, I mean, again, I'll have to look at the ordinance, but if you get a parking ticket, you just get the ticket, right?
Right.
There's no warning.
If we
Yeah.
haven't been really
So,
enforcing.
Well, right. I mean, listen, we can have every ordinance on the books, but it takes a lot of people to enforce them, right? And so, we can write the ordinances, but, our people, do we have enough folks to do that? That is not my area. So I will find more information and get that to council.
Yes, Ms. Beck?
I kind of want to make a comment about that, what you said, if they get a warning, they take it in, and the next time they get a warning. The houses that are the culprits for not taking their trash cans in are the same ones over and over and over again, right? I feel like that's a little bit like, really, because I know in my ward, there are trash cans that live on the street, and it's the, come and get these guys, here they are again. So, and, when we have the, when street sweeping happens, you get that one warning, hey, we're about to begin street sweeping. You forget one time, you don't get a warning, like,
Nope.
you get a ticket.
I got a
So,
warning a couple years ago, I got a $10 ticket for it,
you didn't get a warning?
for that street sweeper.
Yeah.
That was my stupidity. I left
I
one of the
know.
cars
I
out.
forget every
And I
once
got
in a
a
while
$10
too.
ticket.
Every time. So, like, we know week after Mother's Day or week before Mother's Day, street sweeping is starting. Get your stuff off the street. We know that trash comes every Tuesday or Wednesday. Get your can off the street after it's done. I mean, I kind of like, so, tough luck. You get a ticket. It's the same ones every time.
So we would need to amend the ordinance to basically say that we could skip the warning?
Well, again, I'm not entirely sure what they offer. So the ordinance says all trash containers and receptacles must be removed from the city right away within 24 hours of trash pickup. That's all it says. I don't know. I'm just scanning through here real quick. I don't see, like, it doesn't lay out how it is enforced. So my assumption is like Ms. Miller said, is that's how all other property maintenance codes work. So this is essentially a property maintenance thing, so they're going to give them a ticket, a warning ticket. So without having specifics on how to enforce it, I would say that they're going to follow the property maintenance code.
Are you on ordinance 10-2018?
1060.02, 1060.02 methods of collection. So this is under the Title VI, other public services, Chapter 1060, refuse collection and disposal.
This is 2018 refuse and recyclable collection and disposal program. And it lists the penalty, but maybe the penalty is if you throw the wrong stuff away.
He's listing straight out of the development code, not the ordinance.
Oh.
Yeah, this is codified ordinances, yeah. And what are you looking at? What code?
She's looking at the exact ordinance number where you're looking at
Oh,
the
okay,
actual
I got you,
code.
I got you, yep.
So it talks about the penalty is, guilty of a misdemeanor of the 3rd degree and shall be fined not more than $500. I'm imagining a $500 ticket might get trash cans off the curb.
I think that's what we're straight
I don't think you're wrong in that instance.
Might get them in the middle of the road.
Might get them in front of my house.
Yeah, oh, boy.
Well, we talked about teeth. That would be like Jaws.
No wonder that some people,
Yeah,
their trash cans lives out there.
We're
There's
talking
no
about
difference.
trash cans, but property maintenance in general.
Property maintenance.
I mean, besides the trash cans, we talk about high grass, we talk about accumulations. I mean, if they take their trash cans and put them in their front yard, is that not accumulations?
I mean, accumulations to me is a pile of junk, not a trash can. Everybody has a trash can.
But typically, if people leave their trash can in their front yard, they probably have accumulations throughout their yard also.
Possibly.
And then, is it 10 or 15 days? I know we've discussed this. You saw someplace where it said 10 and then it's
Again,
15.
without looking, and I would say that the IPMC, so International Property Maintenance Code, probably has their own time frame, and then we may have something that I would assume supersedes that. Because I would think that it would be home rule. So if we have something in our codifieds, that would supersede. But I don't know for a fact, Monty. I'd have to look that up again. Because I do remember we had several discussions that day.
Yes.
And there's different time frames for all kinds of, grass is one time frame, accumulations is one time frame, parked or unlicensed vehicles one time frame. They all have their own, so they start rolling together when we.
I mean, some of the new council members here probably don't realize the fact that, so our property maintenance guys go out there, give them a warning ticket and say, hey, you have $10 or 10 days to fix this. And on the 11th day, they haven't fixed anything, or maybe they moved a little bit of stuff or what have you. It almost comes down to the point where in order to get the point across, we need to give citations. I mean, if someone continues to let their grass grow 2 feet high, then they need a citation. Because it's just like a revolving door over and over and over and over again. I mean, I've been dealing with at least 3 houses, and it's just been a revolving door on all of it. They do a little bit of this. Oh, okay. All right. We'll let you go. And then all of a sudden I have to do another work ticket because, I'm getting complaints about accumulations or high grass. It's just a revolving door of over and over and over again.
Well, so having, what is it, every other week, monthly meetings where we get everybody together. So, I mean, we have meetings with them. And so the last meeting that I attended, that was one of the things that I reiterated to my group downstairs. Like, if you hit them with a citation, if they go to court and they're court ordered in 30 days to clean this up, that 31st day, I want you there again looking, because if they failed to clean it up, cite them again, because it progresses through the court system too. So it's not really any different than what you're saying. I want them, when we have violations and we abate those violations, set a timer, go back out, visit that place in another 2 weeks, make sure that it's not coming back, because the easiest way to take care of it is to stay on top of them and to be persistent, because they're persistent, they're persistently putting stuff out. Why shouldn't we show that same persistence in trying to get them to comply? So,
I mean, their standards are low. Ours should be up here, and we should bring them up there. You know, everybody. I mean, that's how we make our city look better, is by doing that.
You know, no one disagrees with you on that at all. And by putting the property maintenance inspectors like in the zone, their job is to know that area. And so they'll know those repeat offenders. So like just drive by, most likely something's going to happen. But you know, every July or early September, council approves the assessments going to the county. And it's the same thing. It's a revolving door. You hit them with high dollars when we mow their grass, and it goes on their taxes, and they still do it. So it's us being persistent as well.
Didn't we raise the assessment from mowing to about 800?
It's by equipment, by personnel and equipment, and it is, so I mean, it's $200 or $250 for a piece of riding equipment. It's $150 for somebody to run a weed eater, you know, and that's per hour. And then I believe there is an administration fee on top of it. So I would say the average lawn mowing costs somewhere between $600 and $800, yes.
Now, can't we start doing something like that with the other things? I mean, I know it's hairy what we can assess, but let's say our guys have to come off because somebody was negligent, we gotta shut their water off 6 times a year before they pay. Can't we charge?
So it's funny that you talk about that too. So Ms. Miller and I have been working on trying to update our utility rules. And I was actually going to bring that up to Monty's point, people are persistent in that, like they just keep stringing things out. We have customers that only pay their water bill when they get the shut-off notice when they're 3 months behind. There's a 10% increase or penalty on each one of those water bills. Well, so we're trying to curtail some of that, and because it wastes our customer service clerks' time to have to go through these accounts, to send out these notices, to talk to these people, and then we're sending guys out to turn the valve off just for somebody to run out the door and say, no, I got the check here. I mean, that's a waste of our time. So we're working on adding and strengthening those rules so that we can take care of that type of situation. So, I mean, believe me, those are all, I mean, we see it too. It's just, again, I'm trying to get property maintenance inspectors. There's a bunch of new ones down there. I'm trying to instill in them, like, we don't want to take our foot off the gas. We want to get these people to comply. We want to get these properties updated. So the trash cans, if you can send me a street when they're out, or give me the streets, I'll tell them to go out there and we'll drive up the street after trash day and we can put warning tickets on all of them. We're working on putting it in the like I said, the utility bill, the 10 codes you should know. I mean, and it does require them to remove it from the right of way at minimum, maybe more. We'll let Mrs. Miller
I feel like your building flyer that they gave me says something about kind of putting it out of sight. So that might not be in an ordinance to enforce. It does. But your flyer said it.
I'm going to tell you that flyer, when we made that flyer, our property maintenance inspectors who work in that code all the time they came over and said, well, you know that's not really what the ordinance reads. I said, well, but wouldn't you rather have it up by the house? You know, it says, I think, properly put away. Just because it's not in the ordinance, why can't we ask people to do that? So, I mean, I'm right there with you.
So maybe we just need to look at the ordinance, how to beef it up. And I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I have you in those emails on Raymond, and I'm not getting anywhere with these trash cans getting removed or the follow-up, because a property maintenance inspector went out and just
Somebody pulled them up or something.
They just moved
correct?
them.
Okay.
And we're since August, we're beyond ticketing at this point. I mean, we probably should, I don't know, whatever the furthest level we should be at should be occurring, not just us going out and moving them, because they put them right back. 2 hours later, they moved them back just to be spiteful.
Yeah, I don't understand why
What
you
day
would
is your
not.
trash day?
My pickup's Monday morning. So,
Is
and
there-
I'm
is
going
there
over,
pickup?
I'm looking at Thursday, Friday, like I'm giving them Tuesday to get them pulled back in. I'm not,
So Raymond is on Monday also?
So at least by Wednesday, they should be totally off.
exactly. I mean, the ordinance would state Tuesday, but yeah, I'm not even driving around on Wednesdays. So,
Okay.
but it's when you drive down Hoppekin, it's whenever I'm cutting down 27th to check on those people. I mean, I literally don't think I have one street in my ward where there's not a trash can out on a day it shouldn't be.
Okay.
Can we apply the same principle we just talked about with a water shutoff thing to the serial offenders with the trash cans, to keep escalating how much it's gonna cost them, because it is a waste of our guys' time, because all you gotta do is take the damn trash can back. Get it off the road. Everybody in here and everybody in the city's tired of looking at them. And if it's gonna cost if it costs our guys $25 an hour, including roll-up costs, somebody needs to be paying that. And it shouldn't be the rest of the city, just because somebody doesn't want to pull their trash can back. I mean, is it a legal thing to escalate it to something like that, like we just talked about with the water mains, or?
I have notes that I will follow up on everything that you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Back to the barber and see back.
Aren't you glad you said trash cans are in your committee?
I think Mr. Shrink did that.
Councilor Griffin, second.
I got our church center. I rode around, took pictures. It's a problem. Everybody knows it's a problem.
It's over the entire city.
It's over the
Yeah.
entire city, I know.
Yeah.
And I ride the entire city just to make sure that I'm not the only one. And I see it everywhere. And it's something we've been working on continuously. And I guess there's not enough teeth in it. And then we got repeat people. Why have people that put trash can out? 1 week they'll look good, and the next week they're back to the same old habits. You know, you just can't give some people something that they don't have.
It needs to be like progressive discipline,
Yeah,
is exactly what it needs to be.
I don't know.
instead of sliding down, it needs to slide up.
I'm wondering, in relation to the trash cans, what is it if, like, say, there's a tenant moving out and they pile trash in the side yard? But it's not technically on the curb, they just throw it right outside and there's a huge pile of trash. How long is that okay to sit there before?
So, I mean, I think that kind of falls underneath the accumulations. I mean, so, I mean, again, if it's on the side yard, once it's reported, we would go, but I mean, if somebody, if it's out of sight, out of mind sometimes, you know? Now, I understand the neighbor probably is looking at it, so they report it, they would fall underneath a time frame
Okay.
for accumulations.
Mrs. Hager, what day of the week is trash day in your ward?
Tuesday morning.
They can also schedule a bulk pickup. So that's something that Kimball offers. Now, I don't know if there's a cost associated with that. Vanessa would actually probably
I'm
know
sure.
that a
There
little
is.
bit more.
So,
And they're also allowed 2 yards,
It's like a small,
yeah,
Yeah.
in
Or when you
excess.
have landlords that are evicting somebody and they just put everything out on the curb.
Well, in that case, they need to rent a dumpster.
They need to
or
rent a
something.
dumpster.
Well,
But I
in those
know-
instances, we have cited the pile, so they have, I think at that time, we give them 24 hours to remove it from the curb.
Okay.
And then if they don't remove it from the curb in 24 hours, we bill time and material with roll-up costs. And we'll go remove it from the curb. So, I mean, if that happens, that's an offense that we do take care of,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Mrs. Gerhart, I'm Mrs. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. I just wanted to follow up what you were saying, Todd. Additionally, residential units may place up to a maximum of 2 cubic yards in volume in the form of bagged trash, private residential trash containers, and/or items listed below. And there's just a whole bunch of stuff, carpet if it's rolled and everything, dog houses. You can get rid of furniture, grass if bagged, so they don't even need, if it's 2 cubic yards.
Cubic yards, yeah.
You can
And
put
that's
that
the
out
thing,
in
like I said,
addition.
anything over that, you would have to call,
And you can do that weekly, it says.
depending on the mess, like we, again, would like to show some leniency. If somebody's cleaning something out and they want to put 2 yards out at a time, as long as they're putting 2 yards out at a time and we can see that they're making progress, like, we try to be a little lenient with that. Like, I don't want to go on their property, have to remove it. But as soon as they balk at that though, and they just keep accumulating more, I mean, we're going to escalate it and they're going to end up in court, and then there'll be court order to remove it. And then if they don't remove it, we do have some provisions in the ordinances to go out and remove it ourselves and bill them or assess it.
Yeah.
So,
I have one last one.
One more question.
One more. Okay. Councilor Griffin, I've been here, into my 6th year, you've been here, and we've always said we're working on this trash can thing. Let's finish the damn job. Tuesday, or let's see, May 27th is rules and utilities, rules marketing develop, utilities. Mayor, director, anybody that's invited, can we meet over the course of May, even law director, and get something hammered out to start by June? We've been working on it for years. We say, let's get the damn thing done. Are you guys open to that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let's set ourselves a deadline. May 27th, we're going to have something in front of us to really start hammering this down over the summer and continue on and help clean up the city from that site.
Make sure you tell you gotta have some teeth in it though.
That's
Right,
what I said.
that's what we're,
We'll have all,
we need teeth.
we'll have May, we'll schedule some meetings. Anybody that, mayor, director, when you guys have an opening on certain days,
Okay.
let us know. The council, anybody that can be involved, come to the meetings and let's figure this out and get it done.
Sounds good.
I have a motion to adjourn.
I said, before you adjourn, Schroeder, I got one more thing for miscellaneous too.
Okay.
Because Miss Beck touched on, I know, we're getting it, but she touched on street sweeping. So I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that we are actually looking at doing street sweeping during the day this year. So that would eliminate the nighttime parking violations. It's going to more or less be for a trial period, but our workers, our operators down there feel that it's safer, 2, that they can more efficiently do the job. If there is a car parked on the road when they go for lunch, they'll come back out and see if that car's moved, and they can maybe sweep in or swing in and pick that up. So they've come to us and asked to at least give it a shot. Now, we may look at scheduling the cleaning of downtown and around Lake Anna. Have them do an early start one morning or come in, Thursday, Friday at 4:30 in the morning just to get the downtown clean, to try to avoid people from being in the parking spaces. But that's still kind of a, let's see how it goes phase, and hopefully we can really accommodate and get some stuff done in a timely manner. And then it can be a little more like everything else, complaint driven too. If there's a road that's really bad, we can direct them there and they'll be able to see one of the complaints we get is that they can't always tell that they're leaving the trail, behind them because it's dark. So they're trying to look in the mirror, watch the curb, do this and that, where daytime they feel like they can just give us a better product. So just kind of wanted to bring that to everybody's attention, and that will hopefully make it so that Ms. Beck can park in the street and not have to get a ticket.
It's like one time every year I get it together. But that's going to start, it's usually around Mother's Day, and I always forget it's before or after.
So I was just looking at I think it was last year's, it was May 12th, so I mean, it'll be coming here real soon. Vanessa and I were working on press release today, and we wanted to add some verbiage just to let people know that there won't be the parking bans at night. But to try to help, I mean, if they can't help us out during the day and park in your driveway, if you're not at work kind of thing, just so that we can try to get more, especially curb roads. We already sweep the uncurbed roads during the day, but we're just looking at adding the curved roads. And like I said, hopefully everybody can see what they're doing and we get a good product, so.
Time's up. No. Just real quick to that, Mr. Shreve, if this is a trial run, just keep in mind that the legislation for parking overnight is unrelated to the street sweeper. So if it does work out, then that's something we'll need to change.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
We didn't want to come to council and change it though, and then find out that it's really something we're going to go right back to the following year. So we wanted to, again, try to appease our workers, make sure that they're comfortable. That piece of equipment too, just while we're on it, that piece of equipment is going to need looked at soon. So just kind of keep that in the backs of your minds. I know we're constantly always talking about equipment, but that's one of those pieces that it goes out every day. There's parts on it that spin 100 miles an hour from the time they fire it up in the morning till the time they turn it off at night. But that's all I have, Mr. Griffin. Now you can ask for your motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mrs. Reeve. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mrs.
And I'll second it.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagan. We are adjourned at 7:13. With that, I pass, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. We do have a special street, sidewalk, and lighting committee this evening, and I'll hand it over to Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I'd like to call the Street, Sidewalk, and Lighting Special meeting to order. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025 at 7:12 p.m. We are in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Monty Harris as co-chair, and others noted on my sheet. Tonight, we have one piece of legislation to discuss. A letter from Mayor William Judge requesting legislation to purchase a paver from McLeland Equipment in Hudson, Ohio, not to exceed $160,000. Emergency wording and one reading requested. Time limits ways, please refer to finance. So before we can go forward, we have to invoke the Rule 702 to suspend Council Rule 302, the 10-day rule. May I have a motion for this?
Are we gonna have any discussion on it?
It's not voting on it. I'll make a motion.
I'll make
Do
it.
it
I'll
first.
second.
Okay, hold on. Motion, second. Okay, so, we have a couple of options to go through this tonight. We can invoke the rules and suspend all these rules and talk about it and vote on it tonight. Or we can have a special legislative committee meeting next week and vote it out of, we can vote it out of committee tonight, do a special legislative next week. However, I want to point out that time is of the essence here, so anyone can buy this piece of equipment at any time if we don't go through this all tonight. So I'm hesitant to give it any more time. I know we've had a lot of emails back and forth on this. So anyone else in the committee have extra questions that weren't answered to give themselves a clear path on which way they would like to go on this?
I haven't even heard how they're gonna pay for it, where the money's coming from.
So I don't have a complete breakdown in front of me, but we met on that, so $100,000 is in the budget for
Correct.
streets. The rest of it will be broken out between the water department, sewer department, the permissive road, so it can be used on permissive roads, and maybe another one. So it'll be used for water main breaks. It can be used if the road is tore up for sewer repairs. And then on permissive streets, which are most of our main roads, will be used there as well.
No, my only thing was as long as it didn't come out of the general budget, because there's.
That 100,000 is out of the general.
Right, but
Yeah.
we
That
approved
was-
that.
yeah.
I'm talking extra money.
Right.
That was my only concern.
Right.
Because there's money other places, was my point. So if they can guarantee that the other 60 comes from existing budget approvals, I'm 100% for it.
Yeah, no, it's, the other 60 is coming from other budgets.
Then I'm fine.
Mr. Harris, did you have anything to add?
How quick can we get it? If we pass this
How quick can you
legislation?
pass it? As far as I know, I don't know if anything changed over the weekend. We sent an email as a letter of intent. I don't know if Mark heard back from the dealership or not. It was supposed to be, my understanding is it was supposed to be rented out this past Friday to Portage County. So I don't know if our email served to stop that or not. If it did not, I'm not sure how long Portage County has rented it for. So I don't have a great answer for you, so I'd have to check with Mark tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I'll just let everybody know that being that the mayor said that there was some mechanics and workers that went and checked it, I started asking questions. And yes, one of the people that went to see the paver said it was a good buy, unlike the dump truck that was bought a couple years ago that sat. I know I've seen the old paver that we have, and it should be in the scrapyard. It should have been in the scrapyard years and years ago, and I think this would be a huge benefit. The street cutouts, we can do some smaller streets. I think it's something that we should make a priority, because everybody knows that streets are something that everybody hears about every day from our citizens.
Bingo. And that's kind
So-
of why I didn't really want to save this until next week and call a special legislative meeting. Every single thing that we pass and hear about, everybody has a comment. Streets, 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 streets. And I feel like we might be letting this slip through our fingers if we kind of dawdle around here and wait for next week. We can use this right now. And it has it's barely used. Somebody's going to snap this up. Why not us? And if the money is coming from already approved funds, I'm ready to move. So with that, I am going to, sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, just to put everybody at ease, am I correct in saying that, let's say Portage County does have possession of it right now? Again, this is to put people at ease who don't see this kind of legislation much. And they snap something on it. This doesn't order you to buy it. If something happens before that, you don't have, this is giving you the ability, not ordering you to buy it.
Correct.
So if they do have it and they screw it up, right before we go buy it, if the guys from the garage go up and kick it and say, hey, Portage County snapped a spring here,
Yeah.
then we don't have to.
Right, yeah, it gives the authority to purchase it, but doesn't mandate that
Right,
you
it
have to.
doesn't,
Right.
it doesn't tie you to it.
Right.
Okay, just wanted to make sure everybody was at ease knowing that.
And then it has an existing warranty,
It has
I
a
think you
warranty,
stated.
yeah.
For about
Until
one
next
more
year.
year.
So, yeah, I think we can bust it in the learning curve.
Right.
But if it's already busted to the point where our guys say, even a warranty is gonna put it 2 months
Right.
out, this doesn't tell him to do it.
Right, no, absolutely.
Okay. So, with that in mind, I'm going to move forward and may I have a motion to suspend Rule 304, not on agenda. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
302.
I thought I already did that.
And then you have to
No.
do 702.
Oh, and vote.
Suspend 304.
Okay.
You need to vote on that one negative.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, yes, okay, it says right here, sorry. I'm going to invoke Council Rule 702 to suspend Council Rule 302, we already did that. Yeah, 304. Council Rule 304, not on agenda. I have a motion for that.
I'll make that.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Everybody, vote.
Yes.
Aye. And then now we're suspending Council Rule 401, not called out at Committee of the Whole. May I have a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Okay. And a second?
I'll second.
And a vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye. Excellent. Okay, now I need to call this for a vote, correct? Because I didn't really do that. Okay. So So, can I have a motion to call for a vote for the
Calling.
actual request for legislation?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, okay. And a second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okey dokey, this has passed out of committee. Are there any other remarks from the committee? Oh, sorry, because it's a special thing. I'm so sorry, I forgot. Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
And a second.
I'll second.
We are adjourned at 7:21.
All right, thank you, Ms. Beck. Next up is Finance and Personnel with Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to bring the Finance and Personnel Committee to order. It is Monday, April 28th, 2025, 7:22 PM here in council chambers. All members of the committee are present, which includes myself as chair, Mr. Heidick, Mr. Griffin, Mr. Greer. All other council members are also present, as well as guests as noted on my sheet. Typically, we do not have legislation requests on legislative evenings, but as we just discussed in the special committee meeting right before this, we do have a request from Mayor William Judge requesting legislation to purchase a paver from McLean Equipment, Hudson, Ohio, not to exceed $160,000. Emergency wording, one reading requested. This was just referred from Streets. I doubt any of you have questions that just came up in the last 30 seconds. I will say I 100% agree that this is a priority and would like to vote on this evening. So do I have a motion to invoke Council Rule 702 to suspend Council Rule 302, the 10-day rule?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second it.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to invoke Council Rule 702 to suspend Council Rule 304, not on the agenda.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. And a motion to invoke Council Rule 702 to suspend Council Rule 401, not called out at Committee of the Whole.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And a
I'll
second?
second.
Perfect. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And one more motion to call out this evening.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second. I just looked funny on the sheet
Okay.
here. 'Cause it's only one vote, but it's got two slots there.
Oh, okay.
Because we're voting now to call it out.
Right. Those in favor? Aye. All right. Sounds great. We will be voting on that this evening. Pending legislation, we have ordinance number 48-2024, title approving final legislation, Truson Farm Development. And ordinance number 49-2025, title appropriation Streets Department. This would appropriate $15,000 from the unappropriated item of the street operating budget to the capital budget of the street operating budget and declaring an emergency. Are there any remarks for either of those? Okay, I will go ahead and open it up for a miscellaneous for finance. Anything from the gallery or our finance director? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned at 7:25.
All right. Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our individual committee meetings this evening. Let's take a 10-minute break and come back and begin our regular legislative meeting. All right. All right, we are back. Again, today is April 28th, 2025. This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 7:39 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by Mrs. Thompson.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening asking for guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us engage in meaningful discussion and put the interests of the citizens above our own, acting with love for the common good. Please keep our military and first responders safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
President Grigg.
Present.
Mr. Hyden.
Here.
Mrs. Thompson.
Here.
Mrs. Hager.
Here.
Mr. Easterling.
Here.
Mr. Griffin.
Here.
Mrs. Beck.
Here.
Ms. Gerhart.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Present.
All right. Approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 14th, 2025, as presented. Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the approval of the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 14th, 2025.
Thank you. Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Heidick's motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 14th, 2025, as presented. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are adopted. Acceptance of the Finance Department report for the month of March 2025, as presented. Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the acceptance of the finance report for the month of March 2025 as presented.
Thank you. Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second that motion to accept.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mr. Heidick to accept the Finance Department report for the month of March 2025 as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, Finance report is adopted. Petitions and claims.
We have none.
Matters requested.
We have all been dispersed.
Thank you. I did want to add one thing for matters requested. While everybody does have the agenda on there in hand, all department heads, public, and council members, there is one piece of legislation that's not on there. It was a piece of legislation by the Planning and Streets Department for the trading of Newton Park property for the school. There's some logistic issues, and we're just going to continue our next legislative. We'll bring that up. So that is not on the agenda. If you have any questions about that, you can reach out to myself or Mr. Heidick. But nothing is changing for it. It's just there was some issues. Citizens addressing council. There were none when I checked. Thank you. Well, first reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Ordinance number 44-2025 presented by Mr. Harris and Mrs. Beck. Title, Compression Release Type Engine Brake, Jake Brakes. An ordinance prohibiting the use of compression release type engine brakes referred to as Jake Brakes within the city of Barberton and establishing penalties for a violation and declaring an emergency.
Motion to suspend, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you. Mrs. Beck.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to second Mr. Harris's motion. Motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and seconded by Mrs. Beck to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 44-2025.
Thank you. And Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to second Mr. Harris's motion on adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and second by Mrs. Beck to adopt ordinance number 44-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Resolution number 45-2025, presented by Mr. Harris and Mr. Easterling. Title, Commendation, David Semivan. A resolution of the Council of the City of Barberton to honor and give public recognition to Lieutenant David Semivan for his 33 years of dedicated service to the City of Barberton Fire Department and to this community.
Motion for suspension.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rules required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
I'd like to second Mr. Harris's motion for suspension.
Thank you. Sorry, my microphone was turned off. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and second by Mr. Easterling to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of resolution number 45-2025.
Thank you. And Mr. Easterling.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Harris's motion for adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and second by Mr. Easterling to adopt resolution number 45-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Resolution number 46-2025, presented by Mr. Harris and Mr. Easterling. Title, Commendation, Stephen Iona. A resolution of this Council of the City of Barberton to honor and give public recognition to Chief Stephen Iona for his 36 years of dedicated service to the City of Barberton's Fire Department and to this community.
Motion for suspension, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you. And Mr. Easterling.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Harris's motion for suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and second by Mr. Easterling to suspend the rules required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Harris.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of resolution number 46-2025.
Thank you. And Mr. Easterling.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Harris on the adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and second by Mr. Easterling to adopt resolution number 46-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Mr. President, point of order.
Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ordinance number 47-2025 needs to be, I'm requesting be removed from the agenda as the logistical error pointed earlier. Ordinance number 32-2025 was passed last legislative session, which is the same.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. Thank you for the clarification. That's clears up the rest of the second half of that. All right. Thank you, Mr. Heidick. Lori, did you get that?
Yeah, I'm writing it. You made the motion, we still need a second vote. To remove it.
All right. I'll take it then. Is there a second to remove it? Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Heidick's motion.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and second by Mrs. Thompson to remove ordinance number 47-2025 as written on our agenda. Are there any remarks? It's just for clarification, or cleaning up. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right.
Ordinance number 48-2025, presented by Mrs. Thompson and Mr. Heidick, title, Approving Final Legislation Truson Farm Development. An ordinance of the Council of the City of Barberton approving the final legislation associated with the Truson Farm Development and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Motion to suspend, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule is required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second Councilor Thompson's motion on suspension.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and second by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Easter?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 48-2024. 5, sorry.
It
2025.
does say 4 on mine too.
I know.
It does, that's my
I
bad.
corrected it on the other one.
It's okay, it's okay. Ron Burton. Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second the motion to adopt.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and second by Mr. Heidick to adopt ordinance number 48-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Ordinance number 49-2025, presented by Mrs. Beck and Mrs. Thompson, title Appropriation Streets Department. An ordinance appropriating $15,000 from the unappropriated item of the street operating budget to the capital budget of the street operating budget and declaring an emergency.
Motion to suspend, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule is required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you. And Mrs. Beck?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to second Mrs. Thompson's motion on adoption. I'm sorry, suspension.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and second by Mrs. Beck to suspend the rules required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 49-2025.
Thank you. And Mrs. Beck?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to second Mrs. Thompson's motion on adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and second by Ms. Beck to adopt ordinance number 49-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Ordinance number 50-2025, presented by Mr. Harris and Mr. Easterling. Title, Adoption of the OPBA Police Officers Agreement. An ordinance of the Council of the City of Barberton adopting and approving the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Barberton and the Ohio Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, OPBA, Blue Gold Bargaining Units, effective from January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Motion to suspend, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you, and Mr. Easterling?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Harris's motion for suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and seconded by Mr. Easterling to suspend the rules required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 50-2025.
Thank you, and Mr. Easterling?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Harris's motion for adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Harris and seconded by Mr. Easterling to adopt ordinance number 50-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
Tonight, we had a special Streets Committee meeting to consider a legislative request that was also referred to the Finance Committee. In both committees, Council Rule 702 was invoked to suspend Council Rules 302, the 10-day rule, 304, the not on agenda rule, and 401, the not called out at the committee of the whole. The ordinance was given the number 51-2025. Title: Enter into contract McLean Equipment, Hudson, Ohio. An ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into a contract with McLean Equipment located in Hudson, Ohio for the purchase of a paver not to exceed $160,000 and declaring an emergency.
All right. This was also, voted to suspend the rule 302, 304, and 401 in committee, so we'll be voting. That's why we're voting on it tonight. So motion to suspend, Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you, and Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mrs. Beck's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Beck and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance 51-2025.
Thank you, and Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mrs. Beck's motion for adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mrs. Beck and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to adopt ordinance number 51-2025. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Hyden?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
Motion for adoption carries.
This ends the first reading.
Second reading of ordinances and resolutions.
We have none.
Third reading of ordinances and resolutions.
We have none.
Appointments.
We have none.
All right, miscellaneous and unfinished business. Do we have anything from department heads? Anything from the body? Oh, sorry, Mrs. Eisman.
I just wanted to say thank you to Chief, oh, he left. But anyway, I want everyone to know, there was an email sent out about, there's gonna be a little celebration this Friday for Chief Iono, at Fire Station 1 from
1 to 3.
1 to 2. 1 to
I thought
2.
he told me
1
1 to
to
3.
And they're going to serve cake.
You get the after party.
Come out,
After
and
party.
just, say hello, have some cake, and, we would appreciate you there. All right, thanks.
Thank you, Director. Anything else from department heads? All right, anything from the body? I will be sending out updates to the body and department heads that are affected by the legislation mix-up, and just make sure everybody's on the same page for next legislative meeting. So I don't have anything else, so communication from the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank everyone who attended last week's Change for Change. Collected over $300 for the Barberton Youth Football and Cheer. So thank you to them and to the Leader Toffel for hosting the event. The discussion tonight on property maintenance, whether it's trash cans, high grass, et cetera, or utilities that we brought up that we've been working on. I appreciate the conversation and thank council for being a part of it. As Director Shreve stated, we meet and discuss these things almost daily because this doesn't make it any better, but every community is dealing with this, and it's just, I question it quite a bit because your home is your biggest investment typically, and not to take pride in that, it just blows my mind. But this is something that we talk about almost on the daily. Giving the legislation more teeth really provides for our inspectors, so I look forward to our discussion here. Had a meeting last week through the Mayor's Association, so I want to give more background information, because this was news to me, on the high electric bills. So this doesn't answer too many questions, but gives more background information. So PJM, it's a regional transmission organization and an independent system operator. They operate electric transmission systems, the grid, for all or parts of 13 states, including Ohio and the District of Columbia. PJM is responsible for managing the flow of electricity from generators to local utilities, as well as operating wholesale electricity markets. June of last year, a capacity auction was held, and it resulted in dramatically higher capacity prices, meaning higher electric bills for all users in Ohio and the 12 other states. These prices per the capacity auction will go into effect, as we know, June of 25 through May of 26, and maybe longer. The PJM auction resulted in an 800% increase in capacity prices, meaning electric costs will go up about 10 to 15% in all 13 of those states. These increases are not controlled by the cities. They're not controlled by the suppliers like DiEnergy or NOPEC or anyone else. Ways to offset, so that's kind of the background. I don't know if that helps anyone, but that kind of gives some more background information because I was not aware of that. Ways to offset the cost increase: keeping devices unplugged, adjusting thermostat settings, using ceiling fans versus air conditioners, energy efficient light bulbs, sealing leaks in doors and windows and things of that nature. So I'm not sure if that helps anyone, but the whole PJM auction last year and how that worked, and that they were in control of 13 states, I was unaware of that, so I wanted to share that with you. I think there's I had heard that several states are suing PJM, and so I'm not sure where that's at, and if they're suing together for the same reason, or if they're suing individually for different reasons. So I believe New Jersey and Illinois are suing them, so definitely more to come. So, obviously the demolition of the Barberton Annex, the former Masonic Temple, is continuing, as is the renovation of College Park. Earlier this meeting, we held our monthly Barberton Community Improvement Corporation. We were working to sell the last 3 parcels that were acquired by the BCIC a few years ago. So the contract is in the buyer's hand, and I was reviewing that. So other than that, no other business was discussed. So that's all I have, unless there's any questions. Yes?
There's a request letter from the finance director. Part of it is a request to create new capital improvement fund called the City Hall / Justice Center Project Fund. One sentence in here says, additional revenue coming in once bonds are issued. Is this, have we been to the bond council and we have good news?
No.
Oh, well, never mind.
Depending on how the bond council wants to set this up, you may have to travel to the bond council in Chicago to put on a presentation. May be able to do it virtually. May be able to just send in the paperwork. I'm not exactly sure. I've seen it done multiple ways. But you have to get on their calendar and schedule it. So it's kind of a tedious process. So you get one shot. So a lot of people elect to go to the bond council. I believe we'd be going to Chicago to put their argument right in front of them so they can answer any questions. It's a little better face-to-face at times, but I'm not saying that's what we're going to do. I'm just not sure yet. So I think he's just establishing the fund, getting those T's crossed and I's dotted. So,
Thank you.
but hold your question.
What's that?
Hold your question until we do go to the bond council.
That was a question. Is there good news?
Not on the bonds yet.
Okay, that was my question.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. With nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second that motion to adjourn.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Didn't think so. This meeting is adjourned at 8:05 PM. Thank you.
What if we did say nay?
Kicked right off that
Then you
window.
still lose, but I would try.
I know.